I saw this interesting take from the current Oregon offensive coordinator, and he's blaming LeBron James in his decision back in 2010 for all the transfer portal mess that's taking place in college football. I have some strong opinions about this. Let's talk about it after the bumper. Stay tuned. What is up, everybody? What is up, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr. here at the Black Boss channel and Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and the notification bell because we upload every single day. Now, Oregon offensive coordinator Kenny Dillingham had some interesting comments about LeBron James and about the transfer portal. Let's go ahead and take a look at this article presented by Bleacher Report. This article comes from Bleacher Report, and it is titled Oregon OC blames LeBron James for CFB player movement and desire for a, quote, super team. It says, when LeBron James signed with the Miami Heat back in 2010, teaming up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, he galvanized the idea of building a super team alongside some of the most talented players in the NBA. The idea of doing so has become standard in the NBA and has stretched into college football, at least according to Oregon offense coordinator Kenny Dillingham. Quote, this generation of kids, they saw LeBron James take his talents to Miami. Dillingham said, according to Sports Illustrated, they want to be on a super team. And then, talk some more about LeBron James. The best teams in college football are Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State, three programs that have been powerhouses for decades. Listen to what it says. The best teams in college football are Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State. Those three teams, three programs have been powerhouses for decades, way before LeBron James took his talents to Miami. But let's continue on. And they frequently benefit from landing the nation's top recruits. While Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State have also benefited from landing the top available transfers in the country, many of their most talented players, i.e. the Bryce Youngs of the world, the C.J. Strouds of the world, the Will Andersons of the world, the Jackson Smith and Jigbas of the world, can I go on and on, Stetson Bennett of the world, all came straight out of high school and didn't join the program via the transfer portal. And then they go on to talk about Stetson Bennett, Bryce Young, and C.J. Stroud, the guys I just named. Oregon, the team that Kenny Dillingham coaches for, benefited heavily from the transfer portal, landing Bo Nix from Auburn and running back Bucky Irving from Minnesota. So let's talk about what the hell he's talking about, man. So back in 2010, like I said, LeBron James chose to go to Miami Heat. So 2010 was 12 years ago. Well, man, it makes me feel old. I remember where I was at when that happened. You go into college typically around 17, 18, 19. You go into college around 17, 18, 19. Even if you're 22, right? Let's say if you're a transfer and you're 22 years old. When LeBron James did his decision 12 years ago, if you're 22 years old, you were 10 years old. You weren't thinking about college football at the time. And then the transfer portal didn't become a thing until 2015. So 5 years later, the transfer portal came around 15, 16. That's when the transfer portal was actually created. So what the hell are you talking about? These kids are influenced by LeBron James' decision. Kids have been teaming up to go to some of the best programs, whether it was straight out of high school or via transfer, before the transfer portal was ever existed. Last I checked, the Army All-American game, or I think it's just called the All-American game on NBC, kids have gotten together at the All-American game on NBC in San Antonio for years and chosen to go to the same school. The same with the Under Armour All-American game. It's the same concept. Kids from different states have decided to team up at Alabama or decided to team up at Ohio State, or even now some of them are deciding to team up at Jackson State. So this is not a new phenomenon in college football. Like the best schools or the best coaches get the best players, and therefore they become the super teams. In the last 15 years, Alabama's won 7 national championships. It has nothing to do with the transfer portal. I mean, it doesn't. It has to do with their coaching staff, their game planning, and their recruiting, mostly out of high school, because their best players aren't transfers. Their best players are Bryce Young and Will Anderson, and then the year before it was Jamison Williams. But most of the time, 9 times out of 10, we got Jamison Williams, the only major transfer that's been drafted really high for Alabama in recent years. The transfer portal is a new phenomenon. And when it comes to the transfer portal, why is it a problem when kids move when coaches have been moving for years? Kenny Dillingham, the coach that made this statement, has been on 4 teams, has coached 4 teams in the last 5 years. You just talked about Bo Nix and 2 guys that came to your school via the transfer portal. And now we see coaches leave every single day for money. Every single year. They're leaving big-time programs. Jimbo left Florida State to go to Texas A&M. Why? Because they paid that cash. Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma, a blue blood in college football, to go to USC. Why? Because they paid that cash. Brian Kelly left Notre Dame, a blue blood, a grandfather of college football, to go to LSU. Why? Because they paid that cash. Same with Mel Tucker. Same with a bunch of other coaches. I can keep naming name by name by name by name by name. So why is it a problem when kids do it? And if anything, don't blame LeBron James. Blame NIL, because NIL is a real thing. We just saw the Biletnikoff winner. He lost his quarterback, but he didn't lose his coach. He won the Biletnikoff. He was the consensus #1 receiver in college football last year, and one of the top college football prospects in this year's NFL draft at the receiver position. Leave his team to go to USC. Why? Probably because of NIL. So if anything, blame just the fact that the transfer portal was created and kids no longer had to sit out a year when they transferred, and they didn't need specialty waivers when they transferred. They're allowed to blame the one-time transfer rule, blame the transfer portal, or blame NIL. Don't blame LeBron James. You're stretching, dude. You're stretching, dude. Kids now do this in high school. St. John Bosco out in California just got a bunch of transfers in. A bunch of transfers in. Now they're the number one high school in the country. Kids transfer from high school to high school. And the basketball culture, especially when it comes to transfers, is totally different than the football culture. So don't blame LeBron James, dude. Teams have been creating super teams for forever, whether it's via the transfer portal, whether it's via high school recruiting classes, or whatever. And now, due to NIL, it has nothing to do with LeBron James. You're reaching. You're stretching. You're reaching for something. You wanted to just make headlines, and you did it. But if coaches can move and take higher paying jobs at other places, I see no problem with players being able to do the same thing. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Once again, my name is JeffLightsyJr with the Black Boss Channel. Really, LeBron James. Hit that thumbs up button. Like, share, subscribe. Also, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JLightsy7. That's Instagram and Twitter at JLightsy7. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out. I'll see you next time. Peace.